Hello everyone, I hope you like my series of practicing the PIQ. So this is the third video where I'm going to discuss December 2007 English paper. So it is very important to revise the PIQs and the concept and with explanation, because you will get these questions again in your exam. So let's start. So here our first question: the author of the provoked husband. So the author of the provoked husband is Sir von Braun. Sir von Braun, you know that restoration writers or dramatists are always asked in chronological way with their publication dates, dates of the publication dates of their dramas and text, and sometimes they also ask the chronology of the date of birth of this dramatist. So here the provoked husband was written by Sir John Braun. He was born in 1664 when Shakespeare died, and died in 1726. Was an English architect and dramatist. So he was an English architect and a dramatist. He wrote two argumentative and outspoken restoration comedies, which are The Relapse, which was published in 1696, and The Provoked Wife. So he also wrote Provoked Wife and Provoked Husband. So Provoked Wife published in 1697, which have become enduring stage favorites, but originally occasioned much controversy. He was knighted in 1714. His fragment of The Provoked Husband was completed by Sibar. So you can expect this question also from this line, that it is first it is a fragment, and second that it was completed by Sibar in 1728. So it was a fragmented version and it was completed by Sibar. Okay, so it was written, The Provoked Husband was written by John Van Braun, and he also famous for The Relapse, which was published in 1697, and also The Provoked Wife. So it will be easy to remember. He also wrote Provoked Wife and Provoked Husband. Then who among the boys in Golding's Lord of the Flies is associated with Christ? So the famous writing by Golding, The Lord of the Flies, and the answer will be that D means Simon. Simon is associated with Christ. So Lord of the Flies is a 1954. Please note down the publication date. It was published in 1954. Nobel Prize winning English author William Golding, about a group of British boys stuck on an uninhabited island who try to govern themselves with disaster results. So as you know, it is the first work of Golding, and he was a Nobel laureate. First this text was rejected by maybe 11 or 12 11 or 12 or 41 publishers. So they rejected this text, but after that, when it was published and it became famous, and it is his first novel. Then the complete title of Sterne's novel Tristram Shandy. So Tristram Shandy is very important work, and the complete title is The Life and the Opinion of Tristram Shandy Gentleman. So The Life and the Opinion of Tristram Shandy Gentleman is a humorous novel by Lawrence Sterne. So it is a humorous novel by Lawrence Sterne. It was published in 9 volumes, and its purpose to be a biography of the eponymous character. Its style is marked by digression, double entendre, and graphic devices. So it is also said that though it was written much earlier, but it is a postmodern text, because it has the digression, double entendre, and graphic device. It also have lots of blank pages, and it is a fragmented version. You cannot conclude the story. So it is also called the postmodern writing. So the full title is The Life and Opinion of the Tristram Shandy Gentleman. Then feminine ending refers. So feminine ending refers what? It refers that feminine ending in grammatical gender is the final syllable or suffix letters that mark words as feminine. It can also refers to a feminine ending in meter poetry, a line of verse that ends with unstressed syllable. So what is feminine ending? It is a verse that ends with unstressed syllable. When it ends with unstressed syllable, it is called feminine feminine ending. Okay, so the essay Death of the Author is written by, all you know that it was written by Roland Barthes. So it is written in 1967. Please note down the publication date, because they always ask the date of the text. So it was published in 1967. Essay by French literary critic and theorist Roland Barthes. Barthes' essay argues against traditional literary criticism practice of incorporating the intention and biographical context of an author in an interpretation of a text. So he just rejects the authority of the author. So he said that the death of the author. So here he argues against the traditional and literary criticism's practice of incorporating the intention and intention when the other criticism they incorporated the biographical context of the text, who is the writer, what is the background. So here he argue about that, and he just totally reject the biographical context of an author. So it was written in 1967 by Roland Barthes. Then Salman Rushdie's Same is set in Pakistan. Same is Salman Rushdie's third novel, published in 1983. It was published in 1983. Like most of Rushdie's work, this book was written in a style of magical realism. So this easy question they asked, that who are the writer who used magical realism in their work, and the options were many options, and Salman Rushdie were also in the option. So Salman Rushdie and Gabriel Garcia Marquez will be the answer. So he always used the style of magic realism. The central theme of the novel is the violence born out of Same. Rushdie wrote Same after his second novel, Midnight Children. So it was also an example of magic realism, as you know, and it was written in 1983. So it is about that violence is born out of Same. Okay, then chronological question, next favorite, and this question they asked this time Paradise Lost. So Milton's Paradise Lost published in 1667. Then Bunyan's Pilgrims published in 1678. Dryden's Hind and the Panther published in 1687. So Bunyan's 1678 and Dryden's Hind and the Panther 1687. Then Hutchinson's Memories 1806. So the chronology will be Paradise Lost, then Pilgrim Progress, Hind and the Panther, and then Memories, Hutchinson's Memories. Then The Little Minister is a novel by, so The Little Minister is a novel by J.M. Barrie. It is a sentimental novel. So it is a sentimental novel. It is written by J.M. Barrie, published in 1891. The plot is set in Thrums, a Scottish weaving village based on Barrie's birthplace and a young improvised minister with his first congregation. So it is a sentimental novel. It was published in 1891. The plot is set in Thrums, a Scottish weaving village based on Barrie's birthplace. So it is about based on Barrie's birthplace and a young improvised minister with his first congregation. Then, which Augustan writer's epitaph reads, on who strove with all his might to champion liberty. So it was by Jonathan Swift. It was by Jonathan Swift. So the quotation is one who strove with all his might to champion liberty. So Jonathan Swift was an Anglo-Irish satirist, essayist, political pamphleteer, poet, and critic who became Dean of St. Patrick's Cathedral, Dublin. Okay. So you have you have a question that I am giving you a question that you should write. You have to write that from which text this epitaph is taken. Okay. Then, in which of the following novels incident relating to the declaration of emergency in India in 1975? Such a Long Journey. Such a Long Journey is a 1991 novel by Rohinton Mistry. So here we see the emergency in India in 1975. It was shortlisted for Booker Prize and won several other awards. In 2010, the book made headlines when it was withdrawn from the University of Mumbai's English syllabus after complaints from the family of the Hindu nationalist politician Bal Thackeray. So this is the extra information about the novel. I did not know about this. Okay, so here the emergency in India in 1975 was shown in Such a Long Journey by Rohinton Mistry. Then you have to match the with the character. Match the character with the text. The Jew of Malta. The Jew of Malta, Barabbas. Okay, this is the right match. So is a play by Christopher Marlowe, probably written in 1589 or 1590. Its plot, an original story of religious conflict, intrigue and revenge and struggle for supremacy between Spain and Ottoman Empire, that took place on the island of Malta. The title character Barabbas dominates the play. So you know the story of the Jew of Malta. It is a play by Christopher Marlowe. It was written in 1589 to maybe 1590. Then the future ruin of Troy and murder of Agamemnon are referred by W.B. Yeats. So it is easy question, because in Leda and Swan we see the reference of Agamemnon, and it is a story and subject art from Greek mythology in which the god Zeus in the form of swan seduces or rapes Leda. So you know the story, you know the poem, that in Leda and Swan there is a reference of Agamemnon. Then inscape. So these questions are always asked. So inscape refers to the individual character of a natural thing. Inscape refers to the individuating character of a natural thing. This is the answer. Okay. In which of these plays does Edward Albee use the success myth? So it will be Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. It is a drama by Edward Albee. So Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is a 1966 American black comedy drama. It is a black comedy drama and by Edward Albee. It examines the breakdown of the marriage of a middle-aged couple, Martha and Georgie. So Martha and Georgie, maybe you know the story. Martha and Georgie always thinking about they thinking about their son, they thinking about their child, and they just create a whole story that they have a son and he is in danger, but it is all made up story. Okay, and when this famous line, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, is a famous line of a famous song. So Edward Albee took this line for his drama. So it is a story about the breakdown of the marriage of the middle couple. They are childless, but they always think they made up stories about their child, about their son. The voice of poetry comes from a region above us, a plane of our being above and beyond our personal intelligence. Who among the following is the author of above line? So the answer will be Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo was born in 1872 and died in 1950. Was an Indian nationalist Hindu philosopher, yogi, guru and poet. He joined the He joined the Indian movement for independence from British rule. His main literary works are The Life of Divine. So his main literary work was The Life of Divine. So the quotation, the voice of poetry comes from a region above us, a plane of our being above and beyond our personal intelligence, from Aurobindo's work. Okay. Then the number of the poem in Sydney's sonnet sequence Astrophel and Stella. So it was taken from it had 108 sonnets, probably composed in the 1580s. Philip Sidney's Astrophel and Stella is an English sonnet sequence containing 108 sonnet and 11 songs. So it has 108 sonnets and 11 songs. The name derives from two Greek words, aster and phil. So aster means star and phil means lover. Aster means star and phil means lover. Okay. Then the next question. J.M. Coetzee Poe is a postmodern retelling of. So J.M. Coetzee Poe is a postmodern retelling of Robinson Crusoe. Poe is a 1896 Nobel by South African born Nobel laureate J.M. Coetzee. So J.M. Coetzee is a Nobel laureate. You should know about this because sometimes they ask this type of questions, that they gave you some 2 or 3 statement and you have to choose the right one. So J.M. Coetzee, he was a Nobel laureate, and this time also they gave you some questions that who are the Nobel laureate and who are not. So J.M. Coetzee, he is a maybe Patrick White. They asked about Patrick White, Australian writer Patrick White this time. So it is written in 1986 Nobel by South African born Nobel laureate J.M. Coetzee, woven around the existing plot of Robinson Crusoe. Poe is written from the perspective of Susan Barton. So it is written from the perspective of Susan Barton. Then the next question, Johnson's edition of Shakespeare appeared in. So the plays of William Shakespeare was an 18th century edition of the dramatic works of Shakespeare, edited by Samuel Johnson and George Stephen. His work finally appeared in an 8-volume edition 1765. So Johnson's edition of Shakespeare appeared in 1765. The plays of William Shakespeare. Okay. Then the main characters in Gogol's Dead Souls is. So the main characters in Gogol's Dead Soul is Chichikov. Okay. Dead Soul is a novel by Nikolai Gogol, first published in 1842 and widely regarded as an exemplar of 19th century Russian literature. The purpose of the novel was to demonstrate the flaws and faults of the Russian mentality and character. Pavel Ivanovich and Chichikov is the main character of the novel. So Chichikov is the main character of the novel, which is Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol. So he is a famous Russian writer. After Shakespeare made his debut novel as a London playwright, he was described as an abstract crow. So where I discuss the famous literary terms, I explained the term abstract crow. So it was given by Robert Greene. The first reference to Shakespeare as an actor or playwright was in 1592. He was attacked by Robert Greene in 1592 as an abstract crow. An abstract crow is characteristic of someone who has risen economically or socially but lacks the social skill appropriate for his new position. Okay, so he criticized Shakespeare as an abstract crow. Which of the first play by Mrs. Dalloway called? Which was the first play of Mrs. Dalloway called? So it was Mrs. Dalloway. It was Clarissa. Okay, so Mrs. Dalloway, published on 14 May 1925, is a novel by Virginia Woolf that details a day in the life of Clarissa Dalloway. So the main character is Clarissa Dalloway, a fictional high society woman in post First World War England. It is one of Woolf's best known novels. So the first play Mrs. Dalloway and the character is Clarissa Dalloway. Then the next question, which of the following Caribbean novel makes intertextual reference to Jane Eyre? So this question is a repeated one, because in the previous paper we see that the same question. So an important dimension of the story White Sargasso Sea is related to Jane Eyre. It is certain that Jane Rees herself expected that her readers had a passing knowledge of Jane Eyre, even if they did not know it in detail. So it is a adaptation of Jane Eyre. So it is an intertextual text of Jane Eyre, which is White Sargasso Sea. And Jane Rees herself expected that her readers had a passing knowledge of Jane Eyre, even if they did not know it in detail. So you should know the Jane Eyre before reading the White Sargasso Sea. Then the term metaphysical poet was first used by, Dr. Johnson. So this poem first used by Dr. Johnson, and in my series where I talk about the literary terms, there I also told about it. So it is coined by the poet and critic Samuel Johnson to describe a loose group of English lyric poets of the 17th century, whose work was characterized by inventive use of conceits and speculations about topics such as love and religion. Then only connect this question also, you can see that the repeated one. So it was by E.M. Foster. In his it was by E.M. Foster. So in Howard's End is a novel by E.M. Foster, first published in 1910. So Howard's End is a novel by E.M. Foster, first published in 1910, about social conventions, codes and of conducts, personal relationship in turn of the century England. So here we can see the term only connect. So it was given by E.M. Foster. So it was written in 1910, and it was about social conventions, codes and contact, personal relationship in turn of the century England. Then the last question, the expression "Thy hand, great anarch" occurs in a satire by Dancier. It was from the Dancier is a landmark literary critic satire by Alexander Pope, published in 1728, 29 and 42. The poem celebrates the goddess dullness and the progress of her chosen agents as they bring decay, imbecility and tastelessness of the kingdom of Britain. So, thy heart, great anarch, these quotes taken from Nancier by Alexander Pope. So this is the last question. Sorry for some interruption, and thank you for giving your time.